I tell you what, you're not going to believe this one, because in yet more woke revisionism, the Wikipedia page actually documenting the severe systemic rape of children in our country at the hands of primarily Pakistani gangs up and down the country has been altered to actually brand it as a moral panic. The page now reads, Grooming Gang Moral Panic in the United Kingdom. It explains the Muslim grooming gang panic is a moral panic alleging that Asian, specifically South Asian, Pakistani and Muslim men are sexually abusing young white girls in the United Kingdom. Right-wing and far-right activists, as well as more mainstream individuals, helped popularise the terminology in the 2010s. Now, calling it a moral panic popularised by the far right, this was a real-life national disgrace. It was a systemic failure of the political, the police, the media to actually focus on what was going on, turning a blind eye to it, dismissing these girls as white slags. You had 1,400 girls in Rotherham alone sexually abused by gangs of predominantly Pakistani men. So this article, in what it says about it being far-right activists using this as a myth, as a conspiracy theory, well, no, it's a cold, hard truth. Sexually abused by gangs of these men, now being dismissed, though, as a figment of our imagination. Imagine you're one of those girls. You were dismissed for years as being nothing more than a slag that probably brought it on herself, that deserved it. And now, on what is considered to be one of the most reputable, biggest traffic-seeking websites in the whole world, not just in the country, labels what happened to you as a conspiracy theory. I think that is a damn disgrace. Frankly, it is beyond Orwellian, and it was done by this Twitter user who goes by the name of Sarah Lincity. Now, she actually, if I can get the article up. Jack Anderton clocked this on X, and Sarah's Twitter bio, X bio, reads, non-binary dyke, pronouns XE, they/she, extras of mathematics, European, wrestling fangirl, personal account. You know, this person, I have no idea what their biological sex is, goodness only knows. But this is the kind of person editing these pages, which are important documents that so many users are finding their information on, are seeking out the truth, only to be met by this revisionist woke bollocks that actually says that facts and what actually happened are less important than feelings, the feelings of the recent arrivals to our country. The title being edited by someone like this. I mean, how the hell have we decided that this is an expert authority that we need to be rewriting history? We need to get this absolutely straight. The grooming gangs crisis wasn't just some whispered myth peddled by the far right, that elusive bogeyman. It was exposed by Andrew Northwick, a journalist from The Times, back in 2010, which actually showed how Pakistani men were dominating court cases. Then there was, of course, the J report, which revealed the full extent of the horror of what happened to these girls. 1,400 of them systemically raped, trafficked between 1997 and 2013. That's one single town. There were over 50 of them, and cities actually linked to similar abuse. You go from Rochdale to Oxford. It happened all over Glasgow. But now this woke agenda is actually on a mission to scrub out the truth from people like this. Wikipedia claiming that this is a moral panic with no links between ethnicity and child sexual abuse. I mean, it actually quoting selectively a 2020 Home Office report which actually didn't highlight the reality of what happened in places like Rotherham, trying to make out that it wasn't horrific enough. So let's just all pretend it was some kind of moral panic instead. And I want to actually play you this clip from Larry Sanger, who is the founder, one of the founders of the Wikipedia platform.
If only one version of the facts is allowed, then that gives a huge incentive to wealthy and powerful people to seize control of things like Wikipedia in order to shore up their power, and they do that.
So that's the former founder of Wikipedia actually saying that there is only one legitimate, defensible version of the truth on any controversial question allowed. And that's what we're seeing playing out here, where actually you've got one of these really powerful social platforms where people are getting their facts actually displaying far from the actual facts. That's what we're dealing with. It's a platform too politically biased to even be willing to acknowledge the facts. You ask me why Elon Musk's X is so important? Because it actually exposes these things. We've gone from exposing real world atrocities to actually a landscape where victims of abuse are being swept under the rug to preserve a narrative that doesn't upset the woke brigade. Now, one of the survivors told GB News that she was outraged. She called it a disgusting slap in the face. And if you ask me, she's absolutely correct. Now, the fact of the matter is that the abuse wasn't a myth. It was real. Pakistani men were disproportionately involved. And apparently victims like that actually giving you the cold, hard evidence, that's too uncomfortable. And to add salt to the wound, the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, she was actually criticised for even daring to acknowledge that link between Pakistani men and being their predominant responsibility. But she said, the truth is not racist. But what is racist is the erasure of the suffering of thousands of young girls for fear of offending a specific group. We need to call it out for what it is. It's an attempt to rewrite history to fit a politically correct narrative. One of the users on the talk page of that page, where they discuss edits to any page, actually set out that just because facts are uncomfortable or they're used by a certain group, this far-right bogeyman, that doesn't mean they're not facts. Facts are facts. Whether they're utilised by the left or the right, they are facts. Whether they're uncomfortable or not, they are facts. The grooming gang scandal wasn't a moral panic. It was a real systemic failure, and the victims deserve justice, not some whitewashed Wikipedia entry designed to make the woke feel better about their failure to protect young girls and the absolute disgrace that has come from their multiculturalism project.